So, everyone, welcome back to the Real One Garage podcast, the podcast where we're all about keeping it real and keeping it relatable. Today, we're actually going to talk about the Canadian Auto Show 2026. And with that, I have my co host here, Miles, a good friend who has an immeasurable amount of knowledge in regards to the automotive industry with his years of interest as being a car enthusiast, motorcycle enthusiast, and so much more. But I'm not going to speak about him. He's going to speak about himself. So, Miles, welcome to the podcast, first of all. Thanks for coming.
Well, thanks for having me, Jamal. I really appreciate all the kind words you had for me just now. Hopefully, I
I
can keep up to the hype, I should say. But yeah, thanks for having me, and good to see you on camera there. And yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, man. I always give credit where credit's due. So trust me, gas prices are way too high to be giving out free laurels. So they're definitely well deserved by yourself.
Cheers.
But yeah, man. So you and I, we went to the auto show and we saw a lot. We saw a lot, and I think it's well worth talking about. Just because, unfortunately, just the world kind of has I guess you could say, a stigma, or Canada has a stigma or an outlook towards Canada as we don't know so much about like the automotive industry out here, especially with F1 only being in one of our provinces and not too many people coming out here for all things automotive. Most people going down below, which is to the States, to do anything, I guess you could say, more well known when it comes to events in the automotive industry or car enthusiast culture. But before we get into that, I just wanted to what would you consider yourself in terms of, do you consider yourself a car enthusiast? Do you just an automotive aficionado, or what do you
Yeah,
consider
well,
yourself in terms of?
yeah, growing up as a kid, really, cars always were something that intrigued me and definitely I was always paying attention to growing up, and it was just something I could never overlook, from toys to gaming, and then finally as you grow up as an adult, you get your hands on some pretty cool stuff. So yeah, I think my love for cars and the automotive industry only grew just exponentially throughout the years. Yeah, just growing up with that in my lifestyle, me and just my family in general, we've always kind of been into engines and things that go fast naturally. On all sorts of modes of transportation, whether it be a motorcycle with two wheels, you jump into a car with four, or you never know. You might even find yourself on a snowmobile or something with no wheels and some skis. Either way, that's what we do in Canada here. But
Yeah.
yeah, hey, whatever it is, we took an interest into it, and yeah, just tried to go with it full force. And yeah, just over the years, lately, found myself into go karts and trying to what could I say? Change my sense of things from like the sim world and try and put it into real life and go and do it for real. So yeah, I was lucky enough 2022, I believe it was. I got to the national championship for K1. Well, almost. I got kicked out in the semifinals, but still make it to the top 16 in the country. It was awesome. It was such a good time, and
It's
met a
amazing.
lot of friends, a lot of new friends, met a lot of new people, and raced a ton of people along the way. And you build some really cool friendships and really good camaraderie, and yeah, just being around everyone in that sense, in that community, the racing community, it's phenomenal, and I couldn't ask for anything more. It's great. And even after the last few years, I couldn't race as much, but definitely always there supporting my friends and supporting the people that are out there to compete and do this for real. So yeah, it's great. It's awesome.
It's awesome, man. Honestly, I can definitely commend you for taking that next leap from just, doing sim racing, which, to be honest with you, from what I've seen, whether it's people in the highest form of motorsports, which is F1, which I know Max Verstappen is one of the biggest supporters in that world of doing
Definitely.
sim racing, or even just general, even content creators like Steve Alvarez, or otherwise known as Super GT. He's
That's
also a
correct. Yeah.
big sim racer as well. So you taking your skills that you, which I've seen personally in the sim racing world, whether it's being on, correct me if I'm wrong, F1 or Gran Turismo or
Yeah, yep,
Assetto Corsa
yep,
or iRacing, taking those skills that you've accumulated and putting it into actual kart racing, which is a direct transfer, is really cool, man. That's
yeah.
awesome, man.
Thanks, man. Like I really tried.
No, you're doing amazing, and I can definitely understand. You know, these things aren't cheap, especially when you get into kart racing. I've seen many people in different parts of the automotive of the motorsport world indicate how expensive that actually can be. It's no different than really investing your money and time into a vehicle. It's just on a
Yeah,
smaller level, and it only increases from there. So, no,
exactly. Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah. Just trying to
So
find
yeah,
the time to
okay, so
balance
we
things.
yeah, it's hard, but hopefully you can eventually get a sponsor. I'm still
Oh, we'll
rooting
get
for
there.
you for that. And so yeah, so let's get back into the auto show. So before we actually get into it, Miles, how long have you been going to the Canadian Auto Show? Because I've only
Yeah,
gone a
well,
couple times.
you know what? We tend to make it a yearly thing with the family, so I've been quite a few times. It's like almost every year for the last 10 years, I think I've been going. So it's changed in its own way sometimes. It's still in the same convention center and it's just the way they kind of set things up. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, I've been going for quite a while. So it's definitely an annual thing that I try to make. And I live close by, so it's something I can tend to make time for and enjoy to the fullest for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because yeah, as I said, I've only been a couple times, and to be honest with you, I usually have a friend that goes because of his actual job is he works for GM, and prior to that was Nissan. So I used to get a kind of inside scoop of it if I wasn't able to make it because of work commitments usually. But no, that's awesome because yeah, I've went a couple times, and I wasn't sure how things were going to turn out this time. It turned out pretty well comparatively to what I've heard in the past. I didn't go the year before, and I heard some manufacturers actually dropped out a couple of years ago. Based
I
on what I've
believe
seen
so.
this time, it looks like there's a bit of a resurgence in regards to that. But that being said, what was the first car that actually caught your eye when you went?
Yeah, well, I think when we were walking around and so we first ran into that room we were in with the supercars and the hypercars and all that good stuff. And I think as soon as you see like an old Ferrari or something like an F40 that you just really would never see in real life, if you're not lucky enough to be in that sort of country where those things are kept. But when you see these things in real life, they take your breath away. Just understanding just how rare they are and how lucky we are to actually be in the same room with some of these vehicles. Yeah, I think last year in that room it was an F40, which I just will never forget. And I didn't see it this year,
Hmm.
but if I remember correctly, I think they had an Agera R there. I think it was a yellow one. Did you take a picture of the yellow Agera
Yeah, I
R?
think I can
Or
look that up.
it was an
Give me
Agera,
one
I
second.
believe. That thing was
It's a
gorgeous.
yellow one, right?
I think it was yellow.
Yeah. Okay. There was I think
Like
here
just
we go.
bringing up rare cars because those things, the Koenigseggs, it's
I
just
think
so
we
rare.
have something here. I think we have something here. Let's see. Bear with me, people. I'm not the most technical person when it comes to things, but I'm not bad. I'm not bad.
But we even ran into that rental section as well, right? Well, the supercar rentals, they do
Oh yeah,
the
yeah,
towing
we did
run
that too.
that you did before. Those were pretty cool to see, and the same car that you actually get to drive around and all that to have those in the show. Those are fantastic.
Yeah, that was actually pretty cool too. Funny enough. See here. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have some looks like we're having some technical difficulties here. Of course, when as soon as I try to show you guys a video, that's what it's always meant to be that way, I guess. It's always meant to be that way.
I'm sure it'll be worth it.
Yeah, as soon as I take was about to show you guys, this thing decides to crap out on me. That's okay. But yeah, you were saying about the
Yeah, well, like just being in these like it's something about the auto show that I really love is just that when you go to these things, there really are quite some rare cars that you'll never see driving down the road. And to have a week or two where you can go in and just kind of spend some time with these cars and overlook them, even from a distance when you're looking at them, and you can see all those little details that you just with your own eyes and the things that you'd probably never see just looking at pictures of them on the internet, you know what I mean? And it's really cool to really see them in the flesh and just how the paint shines and all the little details inside on the interior and the different materials they use in these cars. It's just fantastic. When they have the doors open and all these things, it's just fantastic. It's such a good thing to see. Really, really nice for the
Would
owners
you
and stuff like that.
would you consider yourself more aligned with European cars more or less, or would you also say
Question, actually. Growing up in England, well, I was born in England. Growing up there, just at a young age, that was where my first love of cars came from, and I'm really into little hatchbacks and all that kind of stuff. So definitely European cars have a place in my heart for sure. Living in Canada for the rest of my life, well, for the longest period of time, these cars kind of grow on me a little bit, the American side of things, but I'm definitely a JDM guy. I'm all about the imports, and yeah, there's just so much stuff you can do with them. I love it. American stuff too, or domestic stuff, but it just doesn't really excite me as much as maybe the little guys. The underdogs, I guess I would really kind of say. But I love a good
no for
sleeper build.
sure?
Yeah,
So was it this that
yeah.
you were
Oh no,
you were speaking?
that's a Ferrari. There's the Ford.
There's a
I'm
couple
pretty
of those.
sure it was at the show. I saw pictures online of this car at the show, and I swear we ran
Was
into
it
it.
in?
We
It was in
must have
that room.
passed it. I think we passed it real quick. But
Oh, we
this room
did.
was a
Unless it was this one. Was it white?
no. That's the Lotus. Yeah, maybe we didn't get it on camera. Maybe it was at the other side of the
Maybe not.
room. Yeah, maybe not. The Lotus. Those were looking really nice.
Yeah, those were really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I see the only other thing that we based on what I'm showing after that was those, and then there was a green vehicle, and I'm a part of me. Everyone like
yeah. That
I'm the worst guy.
Aston Martin that we were standing next to, that really cut, like, I don't even know what it was called. Man, that thing
This?
was wild. That one. There it is. That thing. It's ridiculous. So nice. Yeah, I think that's the SLR. The Benz.
Yeah, this one was an Aston Martin Valhalla. That's what it's called. I can see it in that
That was
sign.
amazing. That was just gorgeous. I'm glad that we went on, like, we ended up going on the last day of the show.
Hmm.
So it was a little bit quieter than usual. If you go during the week or on the weekend, you're going to run into a massive crowd. And that is
Really?
just something
During the week?
during the week. Yeah,
Really?
definitely. I've had a few people tell me they went during the week, like in the evening or whatnot, but it was still packed. But the weekends were the worst. I think it was a long weekend. Was there?
Okay.
The weekend before was a
Um.
long weekend, I think.
Yes. Yes. It was
It
Family Day
was the
weekend. I
family
think
day.
we.
It was the family day long weekend. Yeah, I had some friends say they went and they couldn't see anything. They just had to basically hold their cameras up and take pictures over crowds because it was just so rammed with people. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think we made a good choice to go on the last day where it was a little bit quieter. And
Yeah.
yeah, we managed to get really up and close and personal with some of these vehicles, and it was really nice.
Yeah. No. We definitely. It was really good. So then I guess for this this next part, did you have like sorry, did the show actually feel bigger or different than this year compared to the other times
You
you've
know
gone?
what? Well, I think to bring up your point from earlier about how I think a few of the manufacturers kind of dropped out this year.
Mm,
They didn't really bring many vehicles out. So, in a sense of just like the regular manufacturers, it was a little bit quieter. Yeah, compared to a lot of car shows I've been to in previous years, you just felt like the manufacturers were really bringing out a lot of vehicles and for everyone to sit in and everyone to experience. But yeah, for some reason, I felt like this year was a little bit quieter. But we did
okay.
manage to get to a few manufacturers like Toyota that had the Supra there. It was locked, couldn't go inside, obviously, but nice to look at. Well, that was the GR. the Gazoo Racing Supra, right? I don't think
Yeah,
we're going
that
to
was
allow anyone in that one. Oh, the
that was pretty
Corolla.
sick.
Yeah, we got to sit in the Corolla. Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, this was the Supra,
Yeah,
and then you sat in the GR 86
Corolla. Yeah, yeah.
and the Corolla and the Corolla. Yes, this was the Corolla. Just bringing that up here. That was the Corolla
There
there.
it was, man. I think they did a really good job with this car. Really felt comfortable sitting inside.
No,
It
this car
looks
was really
clean.
good.
Yeah, it looks clean.
No, hands down, I completely agree with you. The reason, especially anecdotally, I agree with you is because of the fact that I rented a GR Yaris when I was in Japan back in 2023, and it has the same motor, so I know exactly how it felt, and even just the interior wise as well, completely similar, or that being the same other than like somewhat size differences because the Yaris to
Mhm.
Corolla, it was really the same. And this car, honestly, it drives like a monster.
Yeah,
That being, you've been in our friend's WRX STI, and I owned a WRX. I can say these things push even a little, feel like they push even a little harder than the
gotcha.
WRX
Yeah.
and the STI. But yeah, okay. So the Toyota booth impressed you then?
I would say so, and just bringing up the Subarus and stuff like that. I think that's probably one company that has, I think they've kind of lost touch with what people really want, really. You know what I mean? Like, well, who am I to say that? When it comes to hatchbacks and the Impreza, it's just like, it's gone. It was just one of the most favorite things I would love to, like, as a kid, I'd go to the auto show, they'd have rally versions and all sorts of these Imprezas laying around, and now you go and it's just a piece of plastic on wheels kind of thing, you know what I mean? It just, these plastic fenders and stuff, it's just not what I'm interested in anymore, and it just feels relatively, so I think for me at these car shows now where I don't really need to. I can go to a dealership anytime I want and go and sit in some cars and stuff like that. So when I go to these types of events, I like to go and see the cars that I would probably just never get to see ever. And that's kind of you're just walking around searching for those rare little pieces. I think I get my money's worth a little bit more on that side of things as opposed to going and sitting in the regular cars. Yeah, if I was shopping, maybe a little bit easier, but right now I'm just kind of window shopping.
Yeah. No, and the thing is, before we segue to we'll kind of glaze over it before we completely segue to it. Like we went through a walkway, with just in regards to going back on your Subaru
Hmm.
comment, went through a walkway, and most of those Subarus that were on the display posters in that, I guess you call it Subaru walkway, I guess you could call it, because that was all that
Yeah,
was there.
yeah,
It was mainly like Econo box cars and EVs.
yeah. Outbacks and yeah,
Yeah,
just kind of just
no,
family crossovers and
nothing
stuff. Yeah,
nothing to pay homage to the tenacity that Subaru used to have back in its WRC days
yeah, that
when
that
they did
race
have
history. Yeah,
the distinction of the Impreza with as you know, the Impreza WRX was one and the same, as opposed to now they distinctified the Impreza as more of an econobox car, and the WRX being its flagship car, no longer having an STI model, at least here in North America. And so all you really have for Subaru now is a, and I didn't even see it there. Actually, sorry, that's not true. I did see it. We did glaze over it, but we didn't really actually go into their booth. But the sports flagship car there now is not really the WRX, but the BRZ now,
yeah, that's right.
which was the same thing for Toyota.
He,
Sorry, the more accommodating sports car that people can afford, so to speak, would be the BRZ or the 86, not so much like the WRX as much, or like even trying to go for a higher model, the STI, because they don't have it anymore. Toyota only has really, on top of that, is the Supra, which, it does have its own controversies. I think it's being not as pressed on anymore as the BMW Supra, because it's still a good car, but we don't have the selection to peruse as much as we had back in the day nowadays to see what's available.
Yeah.
But we're gonna touch on the EV topic because that's something that we always got to talk about now, especially with the automotive industry. In terms of JDM presence, because there was obviously Japanese companies that were there. You mentioned the Corolla, you mentioned the Supra and the 86, which were basically all in the same manufacturer's booth. Was that mainly the JDM cars that stood out to you, or was
What else
there
did we
any
run
other
into?
Japanese?
You know what? The 370Z, the Nismo version that we
Oh
saw.
yeah, did
Yeah,
I
that's
get
that's
that?
pretty
I
nice.
think I might have.
Yeah,
The
because I
Nismo,
know
I
you like the
forgot
seats
about
in
that.
that thing. I know you want to put the seats in that thing in your car. That was nice.
Oh yeah, I did say that. I did say that. You know what's funny? That is, as weird as this sounds, that is the only thing I didn't take a video of because I think I was
No, we
so
were
focused.
too busy sitting inside. you had
Yeah, I
you had a
think that's
big
what it
smile on your
was.
face in that car.
I think that's what it was. I was so focused on sitting inside. You did take a picture of the Armada.
The
Unfortunately,
Armada
I'm
was
unable
a
to locate
beast.
that that car.
For some
He
reason, that Nismo Armada caught my
yeah,
eye.
you were
I don't
very
know
very
why.
taken with that.
It's a
You
beast.
were you were absolutely gobstopped when you saw that thing.
It's relatively
You kept
good
telling
price
me,
for the machine it is. I think it's a
what
good
was it
price.
like,
I still think so.
108,000?
I think it was like 100,000. Yeah, but
Yeah,
like you can get cars for $100,000, and to get a massive truck like that, with a Nismo
oh yeah.
symbol on it, I don't know. I think it's a good bang for your buck. We'll see how it drives
I
one
think
day.
it's not bad.
Yeah,
I've driven an Armada before. It's definitely comfort, a lot of
yeah,
creature comforts, very comfortable. I just honestly, just with Canadian gas prices, I just I would not want to see what I have to pay for the at the end of the week because I feel like I think I'm like on like worse than like F-150s. I think I'm at like Durango 5.7 liter Hemi kind of prices with that, gas prices with that
yeah,
motor. But it's again, as far as the vehicle is concerned, definitely a great vehicle. It's definitely stylistic, hands down. With that, I don't even know the name of the color. But it was like almost like a bluish gray that they had for it on the
yeah,
three
yeah. Kind of
on
like
the Z.
the Nardo gray,
Yeah, like that's
similar,
exactly, yeah, that's what I would
maybe a little bit
define
different.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
but
so
nice.
it definitely, with the carbon fiber accents, the black carbon fiber accents and everything, it
Yeah.
definitely um, displayed very well in terms of the body lines. And
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and the
yeah,
red lip,
I
the
definitely,
red accents as well. The Nismo stuff always looks fantastic.
there was one car that I was actually surprised you didn't mention, though. That being said, and I guess I'll say it here. For me, it was pretty cool. Let's see here. Let's see here. Yeah, it was. It's a little
Oh
bit loud.
yes. Oh man, now you're stirring my memory there. It's all coming back now. This thing is
Yeah,
a beast. That was at the five rotor.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a five rotor they built in there.
Yeah, this RX-7 was pretty nasty.
That was the HKS RX-7. Yes,
Yes, it was
that's right.
it was pretty crazy. I thought this car held its own in terms of its appeal, the endless brakes, the Advan wheels,
Classic HKS livery.
yeah, the oil splatter
Fantastic.
livery.
Yeah.
It was nice. This is another car that I think based on I was looking at you while you were looking at it, man.
Oh yeah, we spent a lot of time here at this car. It was just
You were
such a
taking a lot
lovely
of
build.
pictures.
Yeah, what a
It was really
fantastic
nicely
build.
done, nicely well done by JRP, fully sponsored car by JRP. And
Yeah,
see, the thing is, just to touch upon this, with these kind of cars these days, it's they're gonna, sad to say, but they're gonna be harder to see here because the cost to modify these cars nowadays and to purchase these cars on the onset of thing is just, I'm apprehensive to say the word, but it feels like it's almost astronomical because to purchase an RX-7 are
yeah, I totally agree.
it's completely different than what it was. You could probably get an RX-7 for 8 grand, probably back in 2005, 6, even 10. Now to get an FD RX-7 is going to cost you probably 40, 50 grand. And those things on the onset, anyways, being rotary engines, most people didn't know how to work on them, much less modify them. We
Hmm.
just didn't have the fan culture here. We didn't have the interest in terms of from a automotive technician's perspective, an abundance of them working on them. So to get something that specifically FD3 SRX7 to that level of tunability and modification, it's going to be way few far in between because it's just not going to be happening. Like you and I have talked off camera about the fact that GTRs are Skyline GTRs, the R34 specifically. It went from a $50,000 car in 2019, and we're
Yeah,
only 7 years in.
yeah,
7 years, this car has like quadrupled in price,
that's right.
some being almost close to $500,000.
Yeah.
Tuning those cars is not for the average person. Actually, just to reference a really great car journalist and enthusiast that I look up to for information. His name is Dino Dale Carbonate, sorry if I mispronunciate that. He's the progenitor of speed hunters, and he's been living in Japan for about 20 years. He recently interviewed somebody in one of the Japanese tuning shops, and one of the things that really stuck out to me, and it resonated with me here in Canada as well, is just that the normal person's salaries have not increased anywhere close to what it costs to purchase these cars at
You're
these
absolutely right.
Japanese Halo cars or anything like
Yeah.
that. And I think that was really the only car there. And just to kind of just bounce back and forth, because of that, you're not going to see many people modifying them as they were back in the day. I bought my in the podcast, you guys will know, I bought my 240, my first 240 back in the days for $1,700 Canadian.
Yeah.
You can't even find
Mhm.
a hatchback 240 SX um, around half the time in decent
Yeah,
condition the
that's
way
right.
I found mine. And that being said, if you even find a shell, people are still trying to sell shells
Yeah.
for three-quarters of the cost of what those cars cost brand new
Yeah.
off the showroom floor.
Unreal.
And it just doesn't make sense to do that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's would you say that like the JDM presence there at the auto show, well, like how would you say it compares to like when you go to a car meet? Because I for personally think it was slim
Yeah.
to none.
It was very quiet. Like that kind of genre, I would say, the JDM culture there. But this is the Canadian Auto Show, right? This is definitely for manufacturers. I think anything kind of JDM related, any sort of like modifications, was definitely more of like along the business side of things. Like I would say like when you have like like booths and all the sorts of stuff around trying to sell things. It's more of just like a conversation piece than anything. But we did end up going into that '90s room over there. Do you remember that '90s section that we went in?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
actually,
Did you get a? They had a couple in there. They had the CRX. I think it was in like an '89 CRX. That thing was
it's
like
funny
brand
when you
spanking
mentioned
new
that.
in there.
You mentioned that, and I didn't take a video of it, but I
I
did take a
think
video of something
I do have some
that
pictures somewhere, but
you
I
did also you did also mention. Let's see, you did mention this. This was the Pajero, the Pajero Evo.
Oh, okay, yes, that was the '90s room. We almost passed by this room. We were going up the escalator, and we just noticed a little sign saying, "Come to this little '90s era booth." And so we went
Hmm.
back downstairs, went in there, and ended up running into all of these awesome pieces that were in such good condition. There was a Lamborghini Diablo. There was
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
pretty
I
sure it
think
was like an
though,
'88 or an '89 CRX. This Mitsubishi there was fantastic. Oh,
yeah.
that's
There
the
was
RS
also
500, I believe it is. The
yeah, the Cogsworth.
Cosworth RS 500. Awesome.
Yeah, and there's the
Such cool cars.
Ferrari over there.
Yeah, that was an old wasn't the GTO. I can't remember which one
It
it
was
was.
a 308 GTS.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And these are timeless pieces of history, I can attest to
Exactly.
that.
Yeah. And this I
I
really
think the CR,
appreciate, like, keeping these things in such good condition after so many years. It's just unreal the amount of love and care it takes, to keep those things in such beautiful condition. And it's lovely to see that.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, I guess we'll segue just to kind of keep these last pieces a little bit short. Did you feel the show was dominated by EVs? Because the EV is seems to be the new topic of the hour.
It definitely does. Yeah, I think every manufacturer there had their version of the EV, and they were definitely promoting it hard for sure. These things, they're not looking too bad, They're looking
No,
okay. Not my cup of tea, but I would definitely say,
you did compliment my car when I showed you my car that I'm driving now as my daily. You did say it's not
yeah,
bad. You said it's
they
not bad,
do look pretty good. Like
but you like the
I have
Silverado
nothing.
more.
Yeah, I have nothing bad to say about EVs. They got power. They do their thing. It's quiet. They're too quiet.
Yeah,
I need some noise. I need some action around me at least. But for the most part, for what it is, they're definitely around, and they will be taking over at some point. There's nothing stopping that. I don't believe, and I think that's pretty much what everyone is pushing for. But hopefully, if you can keep your hands on a nice engine, keep it in the garage, you take care of it, and you'll be all right.
my question is though for you is, do you think EVs can excite car enthusiasts like us, or even the newer ones, in the
You
same
see,
way it did excite us?
that is a good question. I have one car in mind, and I truly believe this car is the best car ever created in the entire world so far. And I'm gonna show you it. I got a Hot Wheels version. I just picked up a new Hot Wheels version. I can't believe I picked this up in Shoppers Drug Mart at like 11 p.m. one day, going to get snacks. I can't believe I found it. Let me go get it for you. One sec.
And for our listeners, in the case that you don't know what a Shoppers Drug Mart is, it's basically like a CVS in the States, or like a drugstore slash, if for Japanese people, like a konbini mixed into one.
Yeah, I gotta say, this thing blows my mind every time I watch a video on it. But it's the McMurtry Sperling. This guy, right
Oh, wow.
here. This car. That's the EV
Oh,
of the
that doesn't.
future right there. This
Is
thing
that
can
EV?
hold. Yeah, this thing
Really?
is full EV. This thing can drive upside down. They've proved it over and over and over again. It's kind of like a fan car, like back in the day with how they kind of F1 kind of banned the fan cars and all that. This thing
Yeah.
sucks itself down to the ground. It's one of the fastest cars ever made. This you gotta look into this, okay?
What is
I
it called
can't
again?
stress that. The McMurtry Sperling. This
Okay.
I don't
Murchie
know if that's
Sperling. Okay.
yeah.
I hope you don't take offense to this, but just seeing that, I'm not gonna lie. Initially, I when you kind of just showed me it and it was focusing on the camera, I thought it was a Batmobile. It looked
Yeah,
like the
it
Batmobile.
does look like a Batmobile, but that is a real car. They've made it, and it is absolutely fantastic. Watch
So
some videos on this car. Unreal. A little
McMurchie
company in
Sperling,
England. A little
I'm gonna
company
look
in
into
England
that.
made this. That is the EV of the future. I'll take one
So
of these
that would entice car enthusiasts, but I
all
think
day.
it's safe to
Yeah,
say that as enticing as it is, there will only be a select few people in the world
yeah,
that would be able to
you're
actually,
absolutely correct.
yeah,
That's
take that.
not a production vehicle at all in
Yeah,
any sense. It's just, yeah, that is something strictly built to beat records, I would say, but it's pretty much beat every one of them. So I'd say look that up, but that would probably be the only EV that would probably excite me.
fair enough, fair enough. Well, we'll move to a little bit of the closing parts. Best in car of the show, I guess. Well, we've kind of gone over what the worst is, which is, some basically manufacturers not presenting as much as they potentially could because of their direction. But best of the show, I guess I'll share a couple clips here because it's I think this is where like you were stopped most of the time.
Yeah, I
It's
think I know what you're going to bring up.
looking at
Yes, that's my car.
P1. Eh? This is your car. It's
So
a
like
that's a
yeah, this
bold
is
statement right there.
what brings me to these shows is seeing these vehicles in the flesh. You know, from the McLaren F1, the P1, and the W1, all in the same place. Phenomenal. Absolutely gorgeous. Like just I still couldn't believe how I think well the P1 is I think 10 years old now, maybe even more than that, but it doesn't feel like it, right? And to see a car, its successor, make it look kind of old in a sense or obsolete was something I just couldn't wrap my brain around for a moment there. I'm just standing there like looking at the F1 being such an iconic vehicle and just such an amazing piece of machinery for the year that it was built in, you know, and then to move to the P1, which was just amazing to see the trio, the LaFerrari, the 918 Spider, and the P1 all battle it out, you know, throughout the years as who's the top car and, you know, who's got the top fastest hypercar kind of thing. And then here we go in the next era with the W1 and, you know, Ferrari building all these their successors as well. It's phenomenal. And, you know, I'll have to learn a little bit more about how much, you know, electrical power is powering these vehicles as well. You know what I mean? With the engines they have, and you know the split between electrical power and combustion engine. But wow, just phenomenal how these things look, and they just yeah, they kind of makes you speechless sometimes when you're looking at them.
It does. It does. I was actually just I just
They just
looking
leave
at
you
these
in
cars.
awe.
Like I
Yeah,
can I can appreciate the acute automotive engineering that took place to create these special machines. But I can you can also just like see the money gleaming off it in every penny. But as much as you appreciated the cars, these weren't the best cars you've seen. There was one that held top for you, right?
I think so as well. The
And that was
Pagani was beautiful. Absolutely just an engineering masterpiece. Holy smokes, look at that thing. Wow.
yeah,
It's just
it was
such a beautiful interior. They're just so well made.
yeah, this actually it left me gobstopped and
It's just
speechless.
a stunning piece.
To see a hypercar like that, it was crazy.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. Did you get
Oh, I
anything on the?
did get the Armada. Here you go.
There it is.
I did get it. I did get it for you, buddy. But yeah, no, the Pagani. So the Pagani's the showstopper for you then.
Yeah. We like briefly went over to that one section where they had all those other supercars and stuff like that. They had the new Lamborghini. I can't remember what it's called. Oh man, really nice. They had a Bugatti there as well. Oh
This,
yeah, that's the Ferrari.
yeah, this was these were nice. These were nice. All right. Well, just
Yeah.
to kind of wrap up here, I appreciate your time with this. I guess my next question is two questions for you. And that would be if someone's never been to the Canadian Auto Show, should they go?
100%. Yeah. You're like you definitely have to experience these things at least once in a lifetime to kind of get a sense on if you know it'll kind of tell you do you like it or not. Is this something that interests you or not? You'll never know until you go, right? But I would definitely say if you have the opportunity to go to the auto show or you know the international auto show here in Toronto or anywhere else in the world for that fact, it's definitely somewhere to go and take your family or even go by yourself and just enjoy everything that the automotive industry has to offer for sure. You know, I think, you know, just humans in general, the things that we've accomplished in the last 100 years, it just keeps getting amazing, you know, even better and better and better
Oh
every
yeah.
single year. You gotta see it to believe it. Yeah, I would definitely say go to the auto show, go see everything that is out there. Yeah, even if you're, you know, you're purchasing something, you know, it's a great way to go and experience the vehicle and then see if there's anything that might catch your eye, you know, versus, you know, a Volkswagen or a Honda or, you know, a BMW versus a Mercedes or something like that. Yeah, just go sit inside and maybe something might pop out and be like, hey, I like this little feature more than that one, or this one feels a little bit more comfortable to me, and this dashboard might wrap around me a little bit better than the other, and I feel a little bit more comfortable looking at this dashboard than another dashboard. But yeah, it's a great way to differentiate, anything to do with any of these different manufacturers and stuff like that. So it's great. Yeah, I would say definitely get yourself to the auto show for sure.
I agree. I did forget to mention to our listeners that they also did offer some test drives. There was some test tracks that were at the show as well, so you could go and test certain vehicles to see how they drove. Whether it was, I think they had some EVs that they were testing on different tracks, and
Yeah,
you
that's
also
right. And
had the
one of
ability to go and also look at the the Cybertrucks. The Cybertrucks are also being tested on the roads as well. So you
yeah,
could also do
that's right.
to do that. So yeah, this is one of the test tracks inside the facility as well. So you also have the ability to go to the auto show to do that. So it does actually really help the average person if they like testing these cars out, and you could do that in terms of driving it as well as yes, just sit in these cars like you would at a dealership, but all in one fail swoop. So you get a good
Yeah.
comparison of multiple manufacturers. So yeah, I agree that with that as well.
Yeah, that's right. And they also had a lot of representatives from all the different companies as well there to answer any sort of questions that you may have had. Any model that was there. They had great guys there, the guys and girls there, definitely there to help out and answer any questions that you may have to do with anything. So it was great.
So then, that being said, Miles, what rating? And obviously, you can give an honest rating because your opinion matters as a car enthusiast and an automotive
You
enthusiast in
know
general.
what? I'm gonna give
What
it
rating would you give it out of 10?
I'm gonna
Out of
give it a
10?
solid 8,
Eight?
10.
Okay.
I think there could have been more,
Yeah.
but then again, I don't think it'll ever be perfect in my eyes, you know what I mean? But I think there always could be more, but I'm giving it a solid 8. I had a great time, a lot of questions answered. And we even ran into a lot of cool people, as well. They had a lot of insight on their perspective as well of their type of vehicles that they like to drive, and you get to hear it from all sorts of different people, So yeah, it was a great time. It was good.
That's you heard it from Miles. 8 out of 10 from the number one automotive enthusiast, sim racer, and kart racer here. Well,
Too
Miles,
kind, man.
I just wanted to say thanks for joining me on the podcast
Thanks
and
for having me.
allowing the listeners to get your opinion, to get some insight on the Canadian Auto Show and just a little about yourself. I hope to actually have you on again for even some more take on different things that we see that we both get to enjoy in the car enthusiast world, the automotive world. Hopefully, maybe even some karting might be able to be discussed on the podcast too, because it is
Yeah,
part
definitely,
of
man. Yeah, I'd love
motorsports.
for you to come by and check some of the events as well. I'm actually racing on Wednesday. I have the race for the throne at K1 Speed, and
Okay.
yeah, I'm going to try and win this wild card to get to the championship at the end of the year. So we'll keep you posted on that. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Obviously there for fun, but when that visor closes, it's a different game. So yeah, we're gonna go have some fun on Wednesday. But hopefully you can pass by. Thanks for having me on the show. Yeah, looking forward to the next one, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, and best of luck on your race. I'll be rooting for you, buddy. Put a GoPro on so I can actually watch the race.
Yeah, I will.
Well, thanks everyone for listening as well. If you did like this type of content that Miles and I brought out today, and anything that I've done in the past, or even just interview type of content in general, just please comment on whatever social media platform you're using, which is either YouTube or Spotify, which I usually post on, and like it as well if you did like this episode as well, and subscribe if you're looking to hear more. We'll be doing another episode with another interview from someone in Japan. So that'll hopefully culminate soon, hopefully for the next one. But as I say all the time, keep it real, and we'll keep the car content relatable. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. And until next time, peace out.